Hello and welcome back to another Sims 3 build video. My name is Billy, and if you're new to this channel and enjoy this type of content, feel free to like, subscribe and stick around for more. So today we are building a colonial inspired suburban home. It is very large, perfect for a big sim family, multiple generations, anything like that. That's the kind of gameplay I enjoy. So perfect for someone like me who cannot get rid of their Sims for the life of them because they want to play out all the storylines all at once. So it's on a 20 by 30 lot. It is 5 bedroom, 4 bathroom. And I did do some interesting things with the architecture of it. I do enjoy the split leveled garages, even though they are a pain. I'm just not used to doing them. I'm trying to get better with that kind of stuff, but it is a work in progress. And I do have another build fairly similar to it that I did before this one that I actually didn't film, but is like used in my personal gameplay. And I have considered recreating it, but I'm not sure if it's worth it given how similar it is to this build. Let me know if anyone has an appetite for that. If not, I'll probably leave it as it is. The build I did that was similar is actually a farmhouse build. And so it has a kind of conservatory area like this one has, but it's also got, you know, a barn, it's got, you know, room for having like chickens and the cows, and it also has a orchard lot that I created separate that you can attach to the back that has, you know, the Grandpa's Grove tractor on it, so that it's really easy to maintain and garden. And so I kind of set it up as a community lot that your sim family could purchase and look after, which I thought was a pretty cool concept, and I had a lot of fun with it. So let me know if anyone wants that. I could also just upload it, the build itself on its own. That is an option. The only concern of mine is that it does have a lot of custom content in it, because I wasn't intending to share it, so that's part of the reason I wouldn't mind recreating it, as well as there's some structural things I wouldn't mind changing about it. It kind of has a nice living space that in the real build, or in the real floor plan, it's like almost a split level. You go down a little bit, and I wouldn't actually mind recreating that because it's kind of above the garage, and that's also split level, so it's actually really good opportunity and it makes it more interesting. So that's probably what I'll do if I recreate it. Here I'm just finishing off the roofs, just a little bit of design. This build does have a little bit more expansion packs and custom content and store content, stuff packs in it. It's not a big deal. The main thing that you really need in here is probably that garage door, which is just garage door on 5 tiles and the cottage stairs. Pretty much anything else you can probably swap out. I mean, we've got these stone throw greenhouse windows out the back for the conservatory type area, but you can swap those out with other windows if you want. Here I'm just placing them in. It's not a huge deal. And there are also other resources that if you don't own that custom content yet, you can get it. I'm not going to elaborate. You know how to find it. It's the internet. But, you know, there are options to get those if you want them in your game. I do personally love those windows, and, you know, anytime I'm going to do a conservatory, I'm probably going to use them. But you don't have to. It works perfectly fine with other windows. The other thing is any of the content from stuff packs that I use. I think I only use one item from each. It's really not a big deal if you don't have them. You can replace the items. I think it's just, you know, one little outdoor lamp and one mirror that you can replace with some custom content if you want. And there is some custom patterns that end up in this. There is some custom flooring. Still not a big deal. You do not at all need it if you don't want to download it. But if you do, I always have it linked in the description down below. So now I'm just finishing off the exterior. Definitely when I was the main inspiration behind this build was actually that I started rewatching The Vampire Diaries, the TV series from the CW. I have rewatched that show quite a few times, I would say. Probably 4 or 5 times I've rewatched it. Not the whole way through every time. I think I rewatched like seasons 1 to 6 a few times, and seasons 1 to 4 a few times, seasons 1 to 3. You know, everyone has their favourite point to stop the show at. I've only rewatched to the end of the show once. But it's a good show, I enjoyed it, but I was really feeling inspired by the architecture of the houses in that show. It is all colonial inspired. Well, it's all colonial architecture, a lot of those houses. And I wanted to recreate a couple of the houses that were used in the show to film in. I think specifically Caroline's house and Elena's house were the two I really wanted to look at building in The Sims. But even though in the past I think I'd seen photos of the inside that would have given me a good idea of the layout and some of the styling of it, I couldn't actually find any when I went to look. So instead of doing the exact builds, I found a kind of colonial suburban house floor plan, coming from newer builds that are inspired by the time, and decided to use that and run with it. So I hope it still kind of recreates the same vibes. Definitely what I tried to go for, but it's unfortunately not the same builds that I wanted to do. But the entire time I was building this house, I had the Vampire Diaries playing off to the side, rewatching it, because it just helped me get into like the vibe and the mindset for this build. And I will say, even though I think the colonial era architecture is stunning, what happened at the time, less stunning. Fan of the design, not the history. Just so we get that out of the way. And the other thing with the styling of this house is I tried to definitely go for the vibe of, a multi-generational family. Maybe they've accumulated some wealth and can buy some antique furniture. Maybe that furniture's been passed down for generations of the family. It is definitely, an upper middle class, wealthy family type of house. And so I tried to go for that vibe with a lot of the furniture. There will be a lot of very classic styles and patterns. So it's maybe not the most modernized build. It's kind of like a balance between the two. But I had fun with it. That much I will say. I did give a dedicated dining area and a fairly big kitchen. I did like what I did with the counters. It was quite interesting. And I managed to fit in as many chairs as I could. I also considered putting like a little kennel or like cat litter box under the cubbyhole, because I know I have some custom content for that, but decided against it. I couldn't get anything that fit quite right with those custom stairs. I do love the pattern I put on the wall here in the dining room. I do think I played around with it quite a bit later on. I just couldn't quite figure out how much of the wall I wanted it to cover and what was maybe too much. So I think this is what it ends up in the end, but who knows. I did this build a while ago, so I might play around with it more. And there's going to be a lot of custom content rugs in this build. They're all typically going to always be from Praline Sims. I do try and keep a limit on how many custom rugs I use, because if there's no real point, I'm not going to do it, because it's just more you have to download. But I couldn't resist the classic rug style. I believe it's like a Turkish rug style. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I do end up giving you a fireplace, if you couldn't already guess by the fact that I gave you a barrel of wood, which I didn't end up using, but it's fine. You can already see some of the custom content coming out right away. I just decided to lay out all the decor right from the start and then deleted half of it. It's fine. And as you can see, I've mentioned this in a previous build, I believe, but I got the build tools mod that someone uploaded, and yeah, I was having too much fun with it at this point in time. Again, if you have any problems with it, please let me know if it shifts them around and once it gets into your game or something. I haven't downloaded anything so far that someone else has used build tools to my knowledge, so I don't know how it necessarily reacts, but hopefully it's all fine. And it's quite interesting. I think my previous build, I did things in a weird order, and I think this build again, I've done things in a bit of a strange order. I'm going right through and furnishing and decorating fully the ground floor before I, get into anything else. I mean, good for me, I'm being focused and I'm going room by room, but it's not what I'm used to seeing in my other builds. I think I generally toss things down all at once and then go through and do the final touches, but I guess this is how I ended up not forgetting anything with this build. I made sure to actually place down lights and decorations and curtains and didn't just, have to go back afterwards. And here you're going to see a lot of content from the Supernatural expansion pack. It just has the best vintage style furniture, so that's all in there. Although interestingly, I don't believe these couches are from Supernatural. I think it's mainly just those tables and the doors to the conservatory. Now I'm getting into the study. It's pretty simple. I was happy with how it turned out. I was trying to figure out how to cram as many little things in there as possible because I thought it would be cute to have it also as a bit of a seating area that seems like something a family who can afford a whole lot of furniture would do. And added a little rug. You're going to see a lot of these style patterns. I don't know what the official term for them are. I guess they're almost French style. But regardless, they're stunning and they really suit the feeling of this build. I do like with those chairs I put in the office, the texture on them is almost like a little bit shiny. And it kind of looks like it's, a type of velvet or some other nice fabric. It's great. So now I'm just kind of recoloring the furniture, making sure all the wood on everything matches, things like that. And I'm actually going to decorate the office and the living room before I go to the second floor. Good for me. Yeah, I did. There is a fireplace and a TV. In real life, please do not put your TVs above fireplaces, by the way. That's very bad for your TV. It's The Sims. There's no heat damage. It's fine. But in real life, please don't. Just don't. And it's also actually, in real life, that would be a very awkward height to watch TV at. I wouldn't recommend it, personally. So here I'm I'm tossing down decorations right before I start getting into it because I know the things I'm going to keep using throughout. I don't think I ended up using everything that I tossed down in here, and I ran into an interesting problem, which meant I had to cut out a bunch of footage. But basically what happened was I couldn't drag the decor items between levels because when I did they would disappear, and I don't think I recall ever having that problem before. I'm not sure what caused it. It could have been the split level from the garage. Maybe something was weird about where the game was detecting the floors and so it was doing object hiding or something. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. If you know the cause, let me know, because it was super inconvenient because I had all these decor items I wanted to use consistently and then just couldn't. I had to grab them again from the catalogue. And so I tried so hard to get a medicine cabinet into that bathroom. It was not happening. It just looked clunky. It looked like it would be in the way of the toilet. It wasn't happening. And yeah, so this build does also have a full laundry in it. It ends up being as part of the wet room, I believe, kind of from the garage into the initial hallway that then leads to the, kitchen, dining room, all of that stuff. it is, anytime I see on a floor plan that a house has a wet room, I do try and create one. It's not something I'm necessarily used to having in real life in houses, but I try and match the vibe as much as possible. This is just the master bathroom, or ensuite, I suppose, for the master bedroom. And I did give not quite a walk-in wardrobe, just a very significantly sized wardrobe that I tried my best to look like it's fully stocked with clothing, I guess. And again, I'm trying to make the medicine cabinet happen. And lots of towels hanging up in that room. I did manage to get a laundry basket, I think in every bedroom, but not in every bathroom. So if you don't like laundry in The Sims, I'm so sorry. Please just delete all of it. Delete the washing machine, delete the laundry baskets. I'm so sorry. It just, I like how it looks, having the washing machine in there. And if I'm gonna give you the washing machine, it's gonna generate laundry. You need the baskets. I'm sorry. So now I'm just placing down a bunch of bath mats in the bathrooms. I have really become almost addicted to having floor mats. And I think in some of my builds going forward, I actually realized I transferred to a new computer before I started doing build videos, and I realized I never actually put my all my bathroom custom content back in. There was some decor that I was missing, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't find it. Realized why, because I forgot to actually transfer it. So that is in my game now. So doing new builds, I might start using it. Stuff like toilet brushes and different types of soap, things like that. So you might see even more clutter, which is good. It definitely improves the vibes of the house. And here I'm just finishing off the kind of wet room, I suppose. And that sink in that wet room is admittedly the business as usual bistro sink. I don't know if you can buy it individually. Again, it's not a big deal if you don't have that store content. I just kind of wanted the more old-fashioned style sink, which is weirdly not the vibe of that set from the store. It's meant to be like a commercial sink, but it definitely is giving like farmhouse sink vibes for some reason. And this is the spare bedroom on the first floor, the only bedroom on the first floor. I actually love how it turns out. I don't think it's a layout that I would typically do, although maybe I'm lying. Maybe it is what I typically do. I don't recall. To me, it felt really, really fresh and new, and it just felt great. I really loved the color scheme that it worked out as. I really went with the blue tones, and the patterns were just gorgeous with the light colored wood. I don't know what it was. I don't think I've ever like looked at a room in a build before and just felt so refreshed. It was just such a strange feeling. I know it sounds like I'm just hyping myself up an absurd amount, but like I cannot truly explain to you how just nice that room felt when I was looking at it. Like, not that I'm like a spectacular decorator or builder or whatever, like not that kind of thought, but just it just felt so clean and fresh and nice, and just it was just so light and lovely. And yeah, I just love this room. I have to hype it up because it is just, I don't know, maybe everyone else does not really care, probably not, but for me it was a really wonderful room and my favorite in this build. And here I'm just building out that wardrobe. I do actually have some like wardrobe custom content that some of it's very new, so it's only gonna just be in my game now. But I might start using more custom content and builds. I do like the vibe of having more clutter. It just takes me a lot longer in my builds, which is not the most convenient for commentary. I am gradually getting better at rambling, but I don't know if anyone else likes to listen to the rambling. And it can be hard for me to think of things to say because my brain operates at a very slow speed sometimes. I'm just trying to be creative and come up with things to talk about that are at least a degree of on topic. Like, I could just start talking about completely random things, but if you're coming here for a Sims 3 build video, maybe you don't want random stuff. Like, I could go on for hours about some of, like, the televised legal cases in the US. I follow a lawyer on YouTube who covers those in live streams, and I watch them every single dang day when there's a live trial going on because I just find it so interesting how the legal system works in other places and kind of some of the things that might be like a bit, I don't know, dodgy about some of the ways cases are handled and the way lawyers sometimes don't always act the most professional in court. It's sometimes chaos. And so I enjoy watching it. I enjoy the discussion about those cases. So I could truly go on for hours and hours. But I don't know if that's the vibe for a Sims build video. If anyone enjoys it, then feel free to say it and I will. But I don't know if people want to hear about murder trials when they're just trying to chill and watch a Sims 3 build. And I did, more on topic, I did actually give you a kid's room in this build. It is fairly gender neutral, I would say. It's kind of just a pinkish brown, some very warm vibes, and, you know, custom content desk from around The Sims 3. But yeah, an actual kid's room with toys in it, wow. And this room I'm working on here is kind of almost a teenager's bedroom. I did have a ton of trouble with figuring out how to lay it out because I wanted to fit in, you know, a bed, a desk, and a dresser. But I think it worked out well. The teen bedroom is not so gender neutral. It is very much so kind of a muted pink colour all the way through. And it's definitely probably aimed towards a girl, is what I'll say. And I did actually give a guitar. And I believe later on the build I do also add in an easel somewhere else in the house. So plenty of rooms for hobbies. I also tried to get creative here, giving a feature wall. You know, I decided to keep it simple, but I wasn't sure necessarily what would fit in, so I just went with basic stripes. Probably not everyone's cup of tea, but I felt like it worked here. And if you've ever had to repaint a house with your parents and, you know, they kind of let you pick out your colours for your room, a lot of parents don't necessarily actually let you go that wild with it. So I feel like this this illustrates that feeling perfectly. You know, you might want a bright pink room, but unfortunately you're not gonna get it. And so here's another one of the spare bedrooms. You'll notice throughout this there are a lot of, you know, little built-in wardrobes. I do love them. I feel like I'm doing them too much here, but you know what, it's fine. They work, they're decorative, they're cute, and all of them of course have to have clothing racks sitting in them. I do definitely need to start using the custom content ones I have. And again, anytime I use custom content, it will be linked below. The other thing with all of these rooms, trying to keep it in that very like classic upper middle class rich family kind of feeling, is definitely having couches and chairs in bedrooms, weirdly enough. I just feel like it's such an uncommon thing now. But you know, when you had the space for it or the money for it, that was something that a lot of people did, I guess. And it is helpful for getting ready or like putting your shoes on, but I don't think people do it as much anymore. Especially because, you know, houses are getting smaller, rooms are getting smaller, we can't afford it. Oh well. So here's a second living space that I kind of kept as a hobby area. It was also another space where I wasn't too certain how I wanted to lay it out. I wanted it to be like almost just a seating area that you could read in and you could paint, and I wasn't sure if I wanted a TV in there or not. I think I made it work. I say it a lot, you know. I'm a natural perfectionist, so I tend to be a lot harder on myself than anyone else probably is. And I'm just, sometimes I try very hard to make a space work or, you know, make a layout work. And I'm not always like 100% happy with it, but sometimes there's not much else I can do with it. And I think that's one of those areas where I tried my best. I think it worked, but I don't know, there's just something missing from it that I can't quite put my finger on or correct. And yeah, here I'm just building out the conservatory. I wouldn't normally put a bookshelf in it, but I just thought it was so cute in there. Especially, you know, once I start adding in plants and everything, making it almost like a greenhouse feeling. Having that little bookshelf just made it feel really like cozy, you know? And there are a few custom content plants in here. They're the same for the most part as ones I've used in other builds. There maybe are a couple of different ones, but no big deal. So yeah, and just finishing off furnishing up here in the second living space. I think in here I wasn't certain about where I wanted plants to go either. And you can see me using build tools again. Some of the tables, some of the coffee tables in the game annoy me because when you go to place down a plant on them, the spot is actually off center. You cannot actually get the plant in the middle, and it annoys the living heck out of me on some of those coffee tables. Maybe it's just a me problem, I don't know. I didn't remember it being an issue, but more recently I've just noticed it. It's been annoying me, so I use the build tools to push my plant over just a little bit. So trying to decorate the kids' room, I went really basic, and same with the teenagers' room. I don't know why. I think I decided not to use the custom pictures I use a lot because it just felt too modern for this house. Like, this is meant to be like a modern house and a modern family living in it, but it just felt like there might be a bit of control over like keeping very classic frames or styles of pictures on the wall. And I'm also someone who personally doesn't really decorate my house that much or like put things on my wall. So if I were, you know, living at my parents' house or something, whatever's on the wall is probably just stuff that they put there. And this is a very similar feeling that I went with, I guess, that, you know, keeping the art on the walls very basic. But also it means that when you move in your own Sims to this house, you can really just customize them to your heart's desire. Like, they are kept fairly simple so that you can put any sim in there and you can just keep building out those rooms to your liking and to your preference. Because that's what I do when I download houses, you know. It doesn't necessarily fit my specific Sims family or situation, so I do try and customize it, although I do get sometimes a bit lazy. But I'm just finishing off putting in some curtains, and I have really been enjoying doing this. If there's like a curtain behind a desk or a piece of furniture, I try and pull the furniture out so that, you know, the curtain's not clipping through it. It's just such a small little thing, but seeing anything clip in my game, whether it's like animations or a little bit of furniture, it does tend to bother me. Again, perfectionist, right? I swear I don't have a problem. But so, that is the main reason I do the little bits and pieces to get it lined up and looking nice and, you know, not conflicting with anything. And now I'm finally getting into the backyard. I did do something a little bit interesting out here. Something a little bit new. And I don't know why I put that one space over. I don't know what I was thinking. I start painting the terrain without checking that everything's lined up, even though it's right in front of my eyes. I imagine I was tired. This was probably late at night when I was finishing this off. I sleep way too late. But just adding some greenery to the backyard and giving you a little bit of a outdoor seating area as well. Lots of terrain paint. I don't believe I painted the underside of the house with dirt this time. Also, I wonder if it'd save some simoleons if I actually deleted the floor plan I put on the bottom of the house in the foundations. Probably. Oh well, doesn't matter. So here I'm just finishing off the outdoor space. You know, giving you a nice little fire pit and everything. And that's it. So here are the screenshots. Thank you for watching.